So I've been debating whether or not I should continue with these videos. And before I post the next one, I needed to do this video. Once in a while, I do kind of an update video. And I know I just did one, but I need to do kind of a walk and talk. So you could skip this video if you want. Um, but once in a while, I have to kind of give a perspective of what's going on in my unique life, because some people don't really grasp the perspective when you watch videos like this. This I try to explain in here that it's not really a renovation channel. It kind of is, but in general, it's like renovation of a life, really. And I've said that before. So, in my profession, when you go into storytelling, into writing or filmmaking or any kind of art direction, there really is very limited ways of having a consistent income, a career path with constant paycheck. And those of you who have gone into fields like that, you'll know what I'm talking about. There are other lucrative ways that you can go into, um, but it's very, very limited. And after maybe a couple years, you get burned out and you really are not interested in that anymore. And that really can take a toll on your happiness. But you still have bills to pay. And so you're kind of forced to go into that job way longer than you ever thought it was that you had to. So I'm sure everybody knows what that feels like when you're not learning anymore. You're only utilized in one or two talents that you have, and then when you're not learning anymore, then you've just been spent. But you have to keep that job, or else you're going to be homeless. This concept is what I'm talking about. This is my entire reason why I have this channel at all, and why I it was miraculous when I first got this house. And so you have to really think about what challenges you would face when you don't have consistent work all the time. When you have seasonal jobs, or when you're in a field like this, and work fluctuates. You've I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Everybody that's in my field, all the producers that I know, everybody in the music industry, everybody, my friends who know other professionals, my brother, everybody who knows somebody who's really struggling. There are other professional people in my industry who are struggling just like me and everybody else is. I mean, it's a very common thing. Some people are having to sell their equipment, their production equipment, in order to make ends meet, because they have house payments and stuff like that. I've had to go through this myself and make my own sacrifices and stuff like that. So the solution that I came up with, the theory was, if I get a piece of land that I could at least park a camper on or something, and then pay it off, then I have a consistency. Then I have that housing that's always going to be there regardless of my income. So this was a theory that I had over time. And then so I just worked at a job that I had, and just put all my money into savings. And I was living at home at the time, and I constantly had to go through that cycle of either living at home or on someone's couch, in their basement, in their attic, or whatever, until I can get the next job. And whenever I had a job somewhere, it was always like 2 or 3 months of work, and then nothing for the rest of the year. but I had to make myself available for those 2 or 3 months. So I couldn't go through a process of getting another job and getting hired and getting any kind of high pay or anything. So it was constantly just low paying stuff or getting really good pay for just 3 months. So this is the perspective. And a lot of people I've learned take for granted when they have money or when they have something saved up, a chunk of money to work with, then they have something to invest in for their next thing that they want to do. And I've done so many ventures in business and entrepreneurship, and it it always comes down to the seed money or the money that you could start with, or a career path where you get some lucrative way of making money, and then you have something to work with to jump onto your next thing, and then you can get a mortgage on a house and stuff like that. I was never able to get a consistent work uh, to be able to qualify for a bank loan at all. So because banks look at my income, they're like, oh well, you haven't made anything for 9 months or whatever, and so they don't like that. So they're never going to look at me as like a candidate for consistent income, which I don't blame them. But my solution that I made was I had to think backwards. I had to turn my universe upside down and somehow pay off a house or a piece of land or something, so that that would be the consistent thing in my life. So if my job or whatever, if I got laid off somewhere, or if the job was seasonal, then I was able to keep my home and not have to go live with my parents or a friend or brother or sister. So that's the whole idea with this. And I get comments about, get back to your house and the foundation, and people are anxious about seeing this completed. I want to as well. I would love that. But it goes back to the thing of, you got to have money to do it, and I've got to put my resources and attention into my profession. And when the work comes, I have to make myself available for that. And whenever I do get it, I have to put it in the exact right place at the exact right time. And if I put it all into this foundation and everything, like I have zero money to work with to live or do anything else. And so basically, I've had to start out with what I could afford. I lived in this house for about 3 years with it all, you know, uninsulated and cold and everything. And I realized I'm not going to finish this house, and I'm barely surviving, and I need to be happy and have a basic living experience. So I need to start smaller, and I'm going to go walk out to the tiny house that I built. So I went. So those are the resources I had. I had material in this house left over, so I used that to put into my tiny house. And I'm using all this material here, build a shed. So this is my tiny house. I built this mostly with the materials that were inside this main house. And then I found other materials and built it for under $2,000. And within my means, I was able to do this and get a nice, comfortable place where I could control the environment. And it's actually quite livable. It's very nice in here. So I was comfortable, and I lived in here. I have to finish the upstairs a little bit. But I finished this off to a point where it's kind of like a little hotel. And but it's actually very nice with all the finishings that you would ever want. I even had a temporary bathroom in here. So this was the first step that I took to get to where I need to be comfortable living within my means, to just have a basic living space, something stable in my life. So then, after I had this taken care of, I was a lot happier. I was able to be feel like I could go home. I don't have to pay rent or a mortgage. I'm not a slave to that. So the income can fluctuate all at once. I can do more business ventures. I could make it uh, take more risks that way, but not have my housing at risk. So a couple years later, I got the idea to renovate the garage living space because I was thinking about it. Um, I was out on a trip with Brenton with Backwaters and Backroads. I'll put his link down below with his channel, and I was talking with him, and I was like, realized that my garage living space had a good foundation. It already had the basic structure there. I thought, oh my gosh, I could do that within my means, and I could have a living space there as well. And the foundation is great. And so I got excited about that. Within, I think, 2 months, I had it livable. So I'm going to go in there, and I haven't done an update video on that for a while. So I'm going to invite you into my living space. Um, it doesn't look like much on the outside. Really getting this place cleaned up. It was a construction site for a long time. We're going to do more better siding and roof later, but when you come in here, it's almost like you walk through a portal into a vortex into a nice little space. So this has been my living space for, I don't know, a couple years, I think. The time has been flying. But I did a video on this, a lot of videos on this. Um, I haven't been able to finish some things like the trim and whatever. But this has been the whole experience here. So ever since I had this finished, I've been even more comfortable. And ever since let's see, so since I've been comfortable, I started thinking about it. Changed my thinking. It changed what I was concerned about, my trajectory in my life, what I focus my resources on, my so it changed into, let's start focusing in on my career. Let's start focusing in on uh, resources. How do I explain this? It's my efforts into getting my longer term goals. That's my dad, by the way. Passed away a year and a half ago. I know he's been helping me. So it's a way to start thinking about the bigger picture and making efforts towards laying down the track for my career like I've always wanted to do for like 20 years. And I it's only really starting to show now. And so that this whole perspective is really, really, really hard to get across in this channel. And I don't even know where to go with this channel sometimes. And sometimes I just want to, I can't concentrate on it because it also takes time, and it takes, and YouTube does not pay very well. My content is not really, um, the, the, the type of content that would go viral necessarily. I mean, renovation videos, yeah, but then there's other videos that are like, I can't make it consistent all the time because I can't renovate all the time. So the channel doesn't really do all that well. So that's just the overall picture of that. But I've been working on, it's only been just the past several months that I've been really concentrating on just my career path and making sure this is going. And so that's why I started. My brother and I started to. Sorry about the glare in there. Um, my brother and I started to do focus in on making our TV series or films that we've wanted to do for a very long time because we've never really been in a position where our housing and our basic needs are taken care of, and we're not desperately trying to get a paycheck at a job and all this stuff. We've never really had the equipment and all the things necessary to make it good, to reflect our professionalism and all this stuff. So we barely just this last year, ever since my dad passed away, is basically the time that I started our career paths started really activating. And that's why I feel like my dad's helping me because that's what he was always wanting to do is help us out. And that's what I feel like he's doing. So this is the overall picture. That's why I don't concentrate a lot of attention on fixing the main house because I'm diverting all my attention on my career path. Then I'll start getting in on that house and fixing it up now that I have a good stable ground to live in. And on top of that, the house happened to be a perfect little place to do a scene in for this pilot that we're doing. So I decided I'm going to prioritize doing that with my career, and it's actually utilizing that main house rather than it sitting there just doing nothing. I might as well make it a scene and have it help out my career. So that's the whole big picture of why I make these decisions. And then, so I'm trying not to leave out anything, but I understand the comments when I get them because people just don't comprehend what's going on here. And hopefully, if you relate to this, then maybe share your story or what you want to do. But everybody is caught kind of in a trap type of feeling. We're really not fulfilling our potential. We're not free to do that. Like we feel somewhat trapped in our condition, our life, or circumstances. And I really believe that it all boils down to housing and affordable living. And I know a lot of people, they say they're trying to solve that in politics and stuff. And I think there's a conflict of interest because there are people that want to make money off of, this stuff. And what I'm trying to do is go against the grain, and it's incredibly hard to do. But these are the little results that happen when you go against the grain, and we're starting to see the fruits of it, of it's actually working. This is actually working. So my next video is going to be something I've been wanting to share, and I'll try to figure out a time to start sharing it. But I also have a Rumble account it's kind of like YouTube, but it's an alternative way to put videos up. So go there as well. I'm going to post these things up there, and so you can, but anyway, trying to think of anything else that might want to mention. But we're on the path to freedom. That's what I believe, and I'm meeting more and more and more people who are doing this exact same thing. There's a property in Missouri that I bought, and this is what the video is about. I bought a place there, And there are more people doing the things that I'm doing than I ever thought existed. So there are a lot of things happening behind the scenes that we're not seeing. And I'm going to share, I've shared a little piece of that. I did a video on a guy doing that on his property. So there's a lot to look forward to. Amazing, amazing stuff. There's freedom ahead. I promise you that the Lord Jesus Christ has promised that as well. And we'll just have to trust Him in His power and doing in extending those promises to the faithful. So I know that this is true. This works. Jesus is real. See those paintings in the back? My mom actually painted those. It's like a paint by number type thing. If you've heard of that, it's like comes in a thing that you put a little number on there, and you get the paint with the corresponding number and put it on. Yeah. So they're really nice. It's cool. All right. Well, hopefully this gives that perspective, and now I can feel free to share the next video.